Hello guys, it's David here, and today I'm going to be bringing you some more Runescape. This is the 9th episode of my beginning PvM series. If you want to find out what that's all about, then click on the annotation on screen and that'll take you to the original episode that explains it all. This episode we're going over the Queen Black Dragon. The Queen Black Dragon is a lot more difficult to kill than King Black Dragon, and a lot more fun in my opinion. It's a bit more of a challenge. It's a bit more of a challenge, and the King Black Dragon you can just sort of like AFK. Like always, before I go over how I kill the Queen Black Dragon, I'm going to go over my gear setup. So to start with, I'm wearing full Ganodermic armor with a Staff of Light equipped. I'm using the Dragonkin amulet that you get as a reward from One of the Kind quest. I use this because it has a high prayer bonus along with a strength bonus as well, which is very nice and useful. It increases the power of the Dragon Breath ability, which is very handy considering I'm using magic. My ring is the Ring of Wealth. This is just because I don't have another ring that I want to use, and it provides a handy teleport to the Grand Exchange, just in case, like I have done more than once, you forget magic runes, which makes it impossible to actually attack. For my aura, I use the Vampirism aura if I have it with me. If not, then I don't really bother. This is very handy for restoring a little bit of extra health, and it just helps you out in those situations that you need it in. In my inventory, I have magic runes to allow me to cast spells, obviously. Super Anti-Fire to allow me to block most of the damage sustained from Dragonfire. You can't block it all, but it does block most of it. I also have a Prayer Potion, Super Magic Potion, Super Defense Potion, to sort of help boost my damage, and also to make sure that I can pray for the entire fight. I have a weapon switch in the form of my Saradomin Godsword. I'll go into that in a little bit later. The rest of my inventory is filled up with sharks, and my Beast of Burden is also filled up with sharks. So, before you can actually fight the Queen Black Dragon, you need to be able to get there, and there's also a requirement that you need, and also something else that helps. You need to have 60 summoning to be able to enter the Queen Black Dragon's lair. If you don't have this, then you won't be able to fight the Queen Black Dragon. Another thing that is not a requirement, but I would highly recommend that you do, is the quest Song from the Depths. This provides you with a passive damage reduction when fighting the Queen Black Dragon, and damage reductions are always really nice, so I'd get that before attempting the Queen Black Dragon. The easiest way to get to the Queen Black Dragon is to teleport to the Port Sarum Lodestone and then just run a little bit northwest. There is a White Knight camp around a giant cave, and it's this cave that you want to go down. If you have level 50 agility, then there's a shortcut that you can use near the entrance, but if not, then you have to run all the way to the bottom of the cave. It's not that difficult to do, you just follow it down. When you get to the bottom level, there's a barrier, and this is the last barrier between you and the Queen Black Dragon, so make sure you're fully prepared before you enter there. So now we know what to take to kill the Queen Black Dragon, and how to get there. What have I learned about her? She attacks using melee, ranged, and Dragonfire. She can summon tortured souls during the fight, and you have to activate artifacts, so there's a little bit of interaction within this fight. So here's what the Queen Black Dragon's lair looks like from above. As you can see, there are 4 artifacts to activate at the end of each phase. If you don't activate the artifact as soon as the health of the Queen drops to 0 for that specific phase, then she'll start vomiting up grotworms. She can make about 15 appear before no more will spawn. And because they can hit quite hard, it's best to try and activate the artifact as quickly as possible. You need to hit the middle top artifact at the end of the first phase, the bottom left artifact at the end of the second phase, bottom right at the end of the third, and the bottom middle one at the end of the last phase. When you hit the last artifact, some stairs will appear from underneath the first artifact. Go down these to collect your reward. During the fight, there are a variety of special abilities that the Queen Black Dragon can use. Sometimes during the fight, you'll get a message either saying the Queen's hide is more resistant to magic, or more resistant to physical. This means she's either gone into a crystal form or a hardened carapace form for 1 minute, or until the end of the phase, whichever is sooner. In the crystal form, she is more resistant to magic attacks, but takes more damage from melee and ranged. In her hardened carapace form, she takes more damage from magic, but is more resistant to melee and range. This is why I take a weapon switch. If she transforms into a crystal form, then I take out my Saradomin Godsword and start using it until she transforms back. This is so that I can do a reasonable amount of damage against her while she's in that form. Another ability that the Queen Black Dragon has is to summon tortured souls. These tortured souls spawn around you and then fire a whirlwind sort of magic attack at you, which deals over 1000 damage. During the second phase you can spawn 1, the third phase you can spawn 2, and during the final phase 4 can spawn at a time. So you can imagine you can get comboed quite easily whenever these spawn. If you don't kill the tortured souls, then eventually they'll start to heal the Queen Black Dragon, which is a bit annoying. Also, during the last phase, one of the tortured souls can start a time stop. This is usually fatal if it hits, so it's best to try and avoid this happening. When this occurs, all the damage that you would have taken in the span of the time stop is dealt at the end of the time stop instead. This means the player is very likely to take a lot of damage, and if they're not careful, it will just take out the entirety of their health. Tortured soul will start shouting whenever they, well, not shouting, but they'll start saying things whenever they do that. You know that they're going to summon the time stop. This means that you need to kill that one quickly before it can start the time stop. Queen Black Dragon also has 2 extra Dragonfire abilities other than her regular Dragonfire. She can summon a Firewall. This is a moving wall of fire which has a space in it. This allows you to walk through the firewall without taking damage. You'll take damage from the firewall even if it hits you, even if you have full Dragonfire protection. There is another way to get past the firewall whilst taking no damage without walking through the gap. The firewall is 2 squares thick and advances towards you at a rate of 1 square per game tick. You can run at a rate of 2 squares per game tick. This means that you can completely avoid the firewall by walking 2 squares into it whilst 1 square moves past you. And here's a demonstration of how this works. The other Dragonfire ability that the Queen Black Dragon can use occurs only on the final phase. This is her Super Hot Flames ability. During the final phase, you can see in the chat box that the Queen Black Dragon is preparing to use her Super Hot Flames. This deals lots of damage if you're standing in the middle of the arena, but if you stand at the side then it doesn't deal quite so much. It's just reduced to 750 per attack. Super Hot Flames hit 3 times for a maximum total damage of 5850 if you're standing in the middle. So here is one of my kills for the Queen Black Dragon. I can't stay at QBD for more than 1 kill without banking, but I can bank quite quickly, so I don't see that as much of a problem. Yeah, I know it's not as quick as, say, if I had max gear, max stats, that sort of thing, but for what I have, I think it's not too bad. I also know that it's not the fastest kill, but it's what I've learnt to do so far, and I'm sure I'll get better at it as time progresses. So here is some of the loot that you can expect to get from the Queen Black Dragon. She's a tough fight, but definitely worth it. And she has a couple of unique drops, which are the Royal Crossbow parts and the Dragon Kite Shield, neither of which sell for very much anymore, but they're still unique drops. I now think that I can kill the Queen Black Dragon effectively, and so I'm going to cross her off my list. We're getting close to the end of the list now, and the only boss that I have left is Araxor and Araxi. This is going to be a tough challenge, and so probably will take a while to complete. So, that's it for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe. And I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.